So let's start from creating the actual bottle. So for that, I'm gonna drag and drop this image to Blender, but first of all, I'm gonna enter to the front orthographic view by hitting 1 on a numpad. Then I'm just gonna put this image right here, and I'm gonna center it like this. Gonna delete default cube. Let me put it a bit lower like this. Then Shift A, and I'm gonna bring in circle. I'm gonna change vertices to 16. Tab to enter the edit mode, and S to scale it. I'm gonna move it somewhere here. Also gonna put this reference image to the right a bit, like this. Then I select the circle again, tab, GZ to move it a bit lower, S to scale it, EZ to move it down. By the way, let's switch to wireframe mode. EZ again, EZ, EZ, and now I hit ES to scale it, and one more time, and then M and collapse at center, like that. So I'm gonna select top vertices, and then EZ to extrude it up, S to scale it. Same thing here, EZ, S to scale, EZ, S. And now I hit ES one more time, and then EZ to extrude it up like this. Let's actually make this a bit smoother, so GZ to move it up slightly, and then S to scale it, GZ. So yeah, something like that. Right click and shade smooth, then Ctrl 3 to bring in subdivision surface modifier. I'm going to increase steps here, and let's quickly model the cap as well. Shift A, I'm going to bring in circle as well, GZ to move it up somewhere here, tab to enter the edit mode, S to scale it like this, GZ. Then EZ to move it up, EZ, EZ, and ES to scale it, ES, M at center. So that's our cap. I'm gonna add subdivision surface as well here, and maybe I want to make bevel here, like that, and I'm gonna give some thickness, ES, ES one more time, and GZ, actually EZ to move it up, like that. That's what we have so far. Let's add one more loop here. I'm gonna move this a bit higher like this. Actually, no, let's leave it there. And a small bevel here. Control B. Like that. And I'm gonna add probably a bevel right there. Control B. So yeah. Now let's add some thickness to that bottle, and for that I'm gonna select the faces inside the bottle, and let me see, I'm gonna select actually this loop, Control plus on a numpad to extend this selection like this, and probably I'm gonna select the whole bottle, I guess, like that. Then I hit Shift T to duplicate it and right click to put it at the initial place, and S to scale it like this. Then I'm gonna select, actually I can select these vertices at the bottom right here, and then Control plus to extend the selection, GZ to move it a bit higher like this, and then I select this loop one more time, GZ to move it a bit lower like this. Yeah, I guess something like that. So let's give this bottle some material just to see what's going on inside. So I'm gonna split my screen and go to shader editor. Right here, I'm gonna hit new, give it some name. I'm gonna delete this default shader and then Shift A, shader, and I choose glass. Connect it right here and I switch to rendered mode. Also have to change render engine to cycles. I'm gonna turn it off for now. Let me move this right here. So that's what we have so far. And actually let's add some light source to the scene so it will be better to evaluate our result. S to scale it, GY to move it somewhere here. And then I'm gonna turn on scene lights and scene world. So yeah, that's what I have so far. Let's add some material for the cap. I'm gonna call it cap and give it some color, black color. I'm gonna adjust materials a bit later. So yeah, let's also give the color for that bottle. Click here on this eyedropper tool and just gonna choose this one. Also, you may want to increase the power of the light source. By the way, let's delete the default light, X to delete it. Choose area light and let's put it like 200, for example. Or even 500 like this. So yeah, that's what we see. Let's adjust the color a bit. I don't need it that saturated, probably something like that. And then also I have to add the liquid inside it. So let me see how I can do that. Enter into edit mode. Our selection is saved from the previous steps. So I just hit Ctrl plus to extend the selection. Probably like this. Shift D to duplicate it and P to create a new selection. So let's call it liquid. And also I'm gonna scale it a bit, so just a bit like this. Alright, and let's give it some new material as well. Make sure that liquid is selected. I'm gonna hit new, call it liquid as well. I'm gonna delete default shader and bring in glass. Connect it, and I think it will be transparent, so I just leave it as this for now, I guess. And yeah, it looks like this. Let me see, is our faces positioned in the correct way? The cap is wrong, so I select all faces, hit Alt N and flip normals. So now they're showing as they should. And liquid, let's check liquid. It's also almost fine. I'm gonna select this top face and oops, something funky is happening here. Oh no, it's fine. Actually, yeah, I have to close this whole ES, M, center. So yeah, liquid is looks fine as well. Maybe I don't need that part because, but actually, as you can see on the reference image, seems like the bottle is actually full of liquid. So maybe it's somewhere here the level. So I don't care in this case. It's not visible anyway under the cap. So let's turn it off. That's what we have. Let me try to increase the area light behind the bottle. So we will see that it looks generally okay. So yeah, let's get back to solid mode. I'm gonna bring back the reference somewhere here. Then I'm gonna close this window on the left. Join areas. Let's model this part inside that bottle. So I hit Shift A and bring in cylinder. I'm gonna decrease vertices to 8. Tab to enter the edit mode, S to scale it, and GZ to move it up like this. And I'm gonna put it somewhere here, like that. I'm gonna select this top part, E, Z, to extrude it up. Then I to move it inside, E to move it down like this. Maybe scale it a bit, and I'm gonna scale this as well, like this. R to rotate it, G to move it somewhere here, maybe make it a bit smaller as well, E to extrude it, E again, R to rotate it, G to move, and I just continue to extrude this part like this, E, R to rotate again, E, R, maybe make it a bit smaller, and this one as well, E to extrude it, G, R to rotate. Like that, E, G, S to scale it and to rotate it again, like this. I'm gonna make it smaller one more time, E, G, R, E, S to scale it, and we're almost done. And probably I'm just gonna rotate it like this. Move it somewhere here. And maybe F, S, Shift Z to move it a bit bigger. I'm gonna put loop selection, loop right here. Like that, and I'm gonna rotate it. Actually, I'm gonna use shear instrument, so I'm just gonna, I think that won't help. Anyway, let's leave it like this for now. Gonna add subdivision surface, and I'm gonna add one more loop right here, and probably, let me see, right here as well. Right click and shade smooth, and one more loop maybe here. So yeah, that's what we have. If I'll zoom in closer, you'll see it better inside, and let's check what's happening right here. Let's slash on a numpad to isolate this thing, and then tap I, and then probably I'm just gonna delete this face, X to delete it, and maybe we can move this, let me see, E, and something like that. I'm gonna rotate it and scale so it looks a bit more accurate. Alright, slash on a numpad again. And now let's model the rest of that part. So probably gonna bring same cylinder, S to scale it, GZ, where is it, GZ, S to scale it again, like this. Gonna put it somewhere here, and GZ, like this. Gonna select these vertices, I, and then E to put it lower, like that. One more time. Gonna bring loop right here. I'm gonna scale it like this. And let me see. I'm not sure if that thing is actually flexible or not. Probably it is. And yeah, let's just gonna select this, Control plus to extend the selection, and Control plus one more time, R to rotate it like this, G to move it, so probably something like that. And let's rotate that part like this. So yeah, and let's add subdivision surface as well. For this part, Control 2, and then I'm gonna add some loops here and there, right here and here as well. So yeah, let me check how it looks a bit closer. I'm gonna hide this part, and right click and shade smooth also. Let me see, maybe I need one more loop here to make it a bit smoother, and I'm gonna move this one a bit higher like this. So yeah, I think that will work. Now let's check how it looks like in rendered mode. So yeah, as you can see, probably because of IOR or the bottle, that thing inside looks really strange. A lot of distraction happening there. Let me check. I'm gonna switch to shader editor. I'm gonna select the bottle. By the way, let's move this right here. It looks like a monster, right? Oh man. So if you decrease IOR, you would see that the less IOR, the less distraction I see inside this bottle, right? So maybe I'll leave it like this for now. And I think that in most cases this part is being put in during the post-production, so I highly doubt that they create such image at one take. So yeah, let's leave it like this for now. I think that looks relatively good. Then we will adjust certain parts if needed. By the way, I forgot to give it some materials. I think this is some sort of transparent thing, right? So probably I'm just gonna add it. Let me see. Oops. I'm gonna delete this default shader and bring in glass shader. As I did before, I'm gonna decrease IR to something like that, and let me see what's that thing inside. It's some sort of, I don't know, shiny thing. I don't know. Let's just make it kind of metallic, and maybe now let's leave it like this. Maybe just decrease roughness. It's not that important, I think, in this case. Maybe I'm gonna leave it like this for now. We'll adjust it if needed. So yeah, let's move forward. Let's quickly unwrap the bottle. Actually, I realized that I don't have to unwrap it at all, because you will see in a moment why. So I'm just gonna select everything, right click and clear seam. Then I'm gonna bring this part back. So I only need that part of the bottle. So and the rest will be kind of procedural material, just default glass shader. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put it closer right here to check what areas I need exactly. And I'm gonna select this part, and I hit U and unwrap. So I'm gonna put the texture, this title only on that part. So that's what I need. I hit S X0, SX0 to make them straight, and same for that part. And I'm gonna straight this lines as well, SY 0, and same for that part. Alright, and let's actually, let me see what is what. Alright, this is the top part, right? So let's select this RX90. I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, so I can now export this UV. So I hit UV, export UV layout, and I'm just gonna put probably 4K will be enough. Like this, and let's save it as PNG, and I'm gonna save it somewhere on a desktop to find it quickly. By the way, if you accidentally added some another UV islands, you just can select them G to move them out of frame, and select these parts and just move them away, and then choose UV, export UV layout, and I'm just gonna select my previous file, this one, export, and that looks just fine. So I prepared this texture in Photoshop. The font is not exactly the same, as you can see. It's gonna have another letters, so but it's not a big deal for the tutorial. So I'm just gonna make this the last layer invisible, and I'm gonna merge all these layers, Control E, and then I'm gonna save it, Control Shift S, and then I'm gonna save it as a JPEG image. I'm gonna save it right here. So right in Blender, I'm gonna switch to shader editor right here. Let's, by the way, choose material preview mode. Then I hit Shift A, and I'm gonna bring mix shader right here. I'm gonna plug it this output, and then Shift A and type image texture, open, and I'm gonna find this texture, this one, and I'm gonna connect it to the factor right here, and that's what we have. And also I'm gonna change from repeat to extend, and let me see, I'm gonna adjust UV a bit. So yeah, let me select this, L to select all UV islands, and S to scale it. So I'm gonna make it like this. Probably I can select this part, G, Y to move it along Y, like this. Let me see. Yeah, and maybe I have to scale it a bit on X, and maybe like this. This part is a bit squashed, by the way, yeah, but I think that SY, let me see, maybe I can select this part, GY, to move it a bit higher like that. And gonna scale it along X a bit, like this. So yeah, I think something like that will work. Also, there's some issues right here. Let me check. Why is that? By the way, I have to clear this seam. Clear sharp. And this one, I don't need it. Clear sharp. And this one as well. So yeah. Let me move these UV islands as well out of the frame, as I don't need them. L. Actually, let's select all these vertices right here. G to move it away. So now we have only that part that we need. Let's get back to shader editor right here, and I'm gonna bring in principal BSDF shader. Not here, but this one. Gonna connect this output to this input, and yeah, we can actually independently adjust this label. For example, we can change the base color, adjust roughness, specular, actually all the things you see right here will be better visible in this mode. So yeah, we can adjust the material for the label a bit later, I think. Let's adjust our model a bit. So as you can see, I think that this part has to be a bit thicker. I'm talking about the let me check. Let me actually collapse this window for now. I'm gonna select these vertices and I'm gonna move them up slightly like that. And actually I have to select this one as well. GZ to move it up like that. Maybe that part as well. GZ, something like this. As we have some sort of curvature at the bottom, and probably for that part also. So let's select this one and that one and GZ to move it up. Yep, let me see. Yeah, something like that, I think. Let's organize our objects in Outliner a bit. So I'm gonna rename it. Let's call it bottle and liquid. And let's actually put all these part into one collection. Let's call it somehow like this. And let's hide the reference image for now. So yeah, and probably I want to build some lighting setup for this bottle, which is the most interesting part. So let's actually leave this light source here. So I'm gonna hit Shift A, plane, tap, and I'm gonna scale it like this. So yeah, I'm gonna probably extrude it down. Let's check face orientation. A, Alt N to flip normals. And tap, right click, subdivide. I'm gonna subdivide it a few times like this. Let's move this light source away somewhere here. And then I'm gonna duplicate this plane By the way, let's turn off face orientation. And RX to rotate it 90 degrees, GY to move it somewhere here. And let's enter camera mode. And to bring in the menu on the right, and I choose view and click camera view. So also I have to change the resolution, I guess. So let's try something like maybe 200 here, and let's actually try this, and maybe something like that. For test renders, you can actually decrease percentage right here, so it won't render the full resolution, but only half of it, for example, if you put 50 here. So I'm gonna put my camera somewhere here, I think. Oh, I forgot to change the focal length. I put like 200 for this shot, and I'm gonna put it somewhere here, I think. Something like that. 0 to exit the camera mode. And now I want to create some sort of waves on this surface, so it will be like a water surface with some ripples. And actually, I realized that I have to bring in simple plane instead of, I don't have to extrude it. So let me delete this one. I'm gonna bring in new plane, scale it like this. And I'm gonna subdivide it a few times, since I really dense mesh, maybe something like that. And then I go to physics tabs, and I choose dynamic paint, canvas, add canvas, and I'm gonna turn on anti-aliasing, and probably I'm gonna choose waves in surface type. I'm gonna leave those settings as they are, and then Shift A, I'm gonna bring in UV sphere, right click to shade smooth. Maybe I'm gonna add subdivision surface to it. I'm gonna move it somewhere here. So let me hide this bottle for now, and I choose dynamic paint for this icosphere as well, and I choose brush here, add brush, and I'm gonna leave default settings here. So now let's just play the animation, and I'm gonna move this right here, and as you can see, we see different ways because this object interacts with the plane. And by the way, let's right click and shade smooth. I'm gonna get back this animation, and get back this product. So I'm gonna put this sphere right above this product, and maybe I'm gonna make it a bit smaller, hide it again, and then I'm gonna play the animation GZ to move it like this. So I'm gonna create some sort of waves, then I'm gonna stop the animation, and I can choose the frame I'd like to use. For example, here you can hide the icosphere and bring back the can. So it will look something like that. So I don't want to have some huge waves, just kind of small ripples around, maybe something like that. So now let's add some material to this surface to make it look like water actually. So I'm gonna switch to material preview mode, and then I go to, by the way, I use Blender add-on. So let me show you how it looks like. I go to preference add-ons, and this one, Blender Kit Online Asset Library. So you have to register on their website first. I'm gonna put the link with the discount to the service, and yeah, it's pretty cool one. Let me show you. For example, if I choose materials here, click on this icon and just type water, for example, hit enter, and it shows me, by the way, those materials are completely free, as you can see. So I tested this one, so I'm just gonna drag and drop it to the model like that, and you'll see in a moment how it looks like. Let's wait for a while. Yeah, so here's the material, and let's hide those materials for now. And now I'm gonna adjust probably this light source. I'm gonna make it smaller like that. Let me see, let's switch back to camera view. By the way, I wanna rotate this object like that. So Rx and RY to rotate it along the Y. Double Z to rotate it along the Z axis. So maybe something like that. I'm gonna move it somewhere here. Let's, by the way, split the screen. I'm gonna switch to 3D viewport into solid view. Maybe I'm gonna put it a bit lower like that to put it near the water surface. Maybe gonna bring in my camera a bit closer like this to put it higher. So yeah, I guess something like that. Then let me switch to render mode and gonna decrease samples here. So let me see. By the way, I will decrease the background power as I don't need it to simulate the actual real studio. So I'm gonna increase the power of the light source like 1000. By the way, I forgot to add the material to this one. Go to the shader editor, new, let's call it diffusion material. I'm gonna delete this default shader and bring in translucent BSDF shader. I'm gonna connect it right here, and that plane is acting like a diffusion panel, huge diffusion panel behind the object. And let me see, I'm just gonna put this light source somewhere here, I guess. That was my initial idea, to create that light pattern. I'm gonna move it up like this and somewhere here to make nice gradient on the top left corner. And also I'm gonna move it closer to the diffusion panel like this to make it smaller. So yeah, I think something like that. By the way, let's make only this area visible. Gonna zoom in a bit closer. Gonna hide this. So, and you can also turn off overlays to see better what's going on. Maybe I want to put my camera a bit lower, so I select the camera and hit GZ to move it closer to the water surface. Maybe like this, maybe even lower. Probably like that, and then I'm gonna rotate it along the X, I think, to move it a bit higher. Something like that, and also I'm gonna put it a bit closer to the object, so I move it along the Y. Like this. Oops. I rotate it instead, actually. So I'm gonna put it somewhere here, probably. I like this reflection in the water, so I think it looks cool. But our main object is this perfume anyway, so I think that looks fine now. Let's put 0 here. And actually, no, let's leave it like that. So now let's try to add some ripples on the surface. I'm not sure it disappeared somehow. So I bring back icosphere, select it, and I'm gonna play the animation again. I'm gonna do something like that. I'm gonna pause it and then put it down like this. So let me see what I can choose. Maybe, let me see. Maybe that one. No, the ripples are not really visible. Maybe something like that. Yeah, we see kinda they're big around the object, and that's what I actually need. Maybe this one looks interesting. It's kind of the water surfing touching the object, but let's not look too conveniencing, right? So it's kind of a bit strange, I would say. And let's try this one maybe. Oh, we can try to animate it again. For example, I'm gonna make this a bit smaller and then shift backspace to activate the animation. I'm gonna do something like that. Maybe more smaller movements. Let me see. I don't know, let's choose this one, for example. It's not that important, I'm just showing the possibilities of this approach. So yeah, let's choose something like that. So probably I'm gonna use this frame. As you can see, water is like almost touching the product. I think that looks cool. Also these highlights, I really like it. So, and probably I'm gonna even move my camera a bit closer like this to concentrate more on the product itself. So something like that. And as soon as we're done with animation, we can hide this icosphere. And yeah, so that's what we have. And we can render this frame and use it as our base kind of layer for post-production. But I want to colorize this light source behind this one, and for that I go to lighting properties and choose color, and I'm gonna pick some blue color. Let me see. You can increase saturation if needed, but I'm not sure that we have to pull it. Probably it's gonna be something like that, I think. Maybe even less saturated, I think. Kind of more neutral. Yeah, maybe something like that. And also I want to go to camera settings, and I'm gonna activate depth of field option, and I choose bottle, and I'm gonna put like 0.4 right here. And yeah, I'm gonna just do a test render now. So here guys, this is my test render, and as you can see it's pretty noisy. I forgot to turn on denoiser in rendering settings, and from this point it's actually you just have to tweak camera position and play with probably with f-stops, make it maybe like close your aperture a bit, like 1.2 for example, and play with position of the bottle and stuff like that. So and probably I'm gonna just fast forward this video to not waste your time, and I will show you the final result I got right in Blender in a few seconds. So yeah guys, here's how lighting setup looks like for the perfume bottle only. So let me quickly show you how it looks like. I'm gonna turn on light sources one by one. So probably I'm gonna start from that one. Let me see. Yeah, this one behind the diffusion panel. Actually behind the product, so it creates nice highlight on the left and also kind of nice glowing inside the bottle. And the next one on the right, on the left, I'm sorry, it creates nice highlight on the front surface of the bottle. We can, by the way, make it a bit brighter, I think, so like maybe 400. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then I'm gonna turn on the next one on the right. Right here, it creates nice rim light on the right side. And finally, this is kind of fill light right in front of the bottle. This big light source, it allows me to highlight the label, the front label. Actually, it's not really important in this case, as we already have light coming from this light source, and it makes this label bright. So just maybe I will leave it just in case. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Also, maybe I can make this highlight on the left a bit narrower, so I can simply select this one and hit SX, I guess, to make it like that. So yeah, maybe something like this. You can also play with the height of this light source behind to get the result you like. So, and I think that's pretty much it for Blender part. And I'm gonna show you quickly how I put 2 or more. Maybe I'm gonna make one more render to combine them later together in Photoshop. So let me show you quickly what I did for post-production. This is the first render I did. And first of all, I increased contrast on this area of the bottle. As you can see here, there's before and after. Also, I slightly adjusted the hue of this reflection using hue saturation adjustment layer. And then I slightly fixed the background, since it was kind of, because of denoiser, I guess, there was some strange texture right here. I don't know if you see it or not on YouTube, because YouTube compresses video a lot, but anyway, I just used the brush and paint over some areas to smooth them out a bit, to make the background generally smooth. And then here's another group of layers. That's another render I did just for the bottle, as you've seen previously. So I just put it over this area. Here's how it looks like. And I also masked this part. And also I increased contrast to that bottle, slightly changed the hue, and then increased brightness a bit even more on this part and for that highlight. And also I fixed this highlight on the left like that. And that's pretty much it for post-production. And this is the final image. So I hope that my tutorial was interesting for you to watch, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And also please join my Facebook group if you want to get a feedback on your works, and if you generally have any questions about CGI or photography, so you're welcome to my group. And yeah, also you can download this model on Gumroad. I put the link in the description as well. And I'll see you soon on the next one.